Here are the materials you'll need to run a great cupping. First of all, you'll need a grinder. Use a standard grind size. An ideal scenario might include a dedicated grinder whose settings do not change and which is only used for cupping. The SCA standards indicate that 70 to 75% of ground should pass through a US number 20 sieve. You'll also need a scale, preferably one with an accurate measurement to at least 0.1 grams. SCA standards indicate 8.25 grams of whole bean coffee to 150 milliliters of water, which is roughly a 1:18 ratio. This should be ground after weighing. This translates to 1.63 grams for every 1 fluid ounce, or 0.055 grams for 1 milliliter, if you need to do ratios. You'll also need a thermometer to take the temperature of your water. For the water, make sure it's freshly boiled. Filtered water will improve your results. The SCA has established clean water standards as well, with a clean and fresh, odor-free, clear color, and 0 chlorine. Ideally, water should be in the neighborhood of 150 parts per million of TDS, that's 4 grains, and roughly 68 parts per million of calcium ion, and 40 parts per million total alkalinity. The pH should be neutral at 7 and no more than 10 parts per million of sodium. There is a wider acceptable range between 75 and 250 total dissolved solids, which is between 1 and 5 grains of calcium and a 6.5 to 7.5 pH range. For a temperature, the water ideally should be at 200 degrees Fahrenheit plus or minus 2, which is 92.2 to 94.4 Celsius. You'll also need kettles and a burner, or at least some way to heat the water. For spoons, we recommend wide and relatively shallow spoons, kind of like a soup spoon and less like a teaspoon for tasting. The SCA actually has a standard for this as well, between 4 and 5 milliliter capacity in a non-reactive metal. As far as cups are concerned, the SCA standard cupping is 5 cups per sample at 7 to 9 fluid ounces, which is 207 to 266 milliliters. The top diameter should be between 3 and 3.5 inches, that's 76 to 89 millimeters, and they recommend having lids on hand in case ground coffee has to sit for more than a few minutes to preserve its integrity. In a less formal setting, such as a production cupping, 2 or 3 cups is often sufficient. Rinse cups should be offered also for clean water. I usually recommend 1 per sample set as a convenient starting number. Don't forget that you'll need 1 or more timers to indicate when you should break and when the coffee might be cool enough to taste. You'll also need some towels for spills, drying your spoons off, and general cleanliness. And you'll need sufficient surface area. Lastly, you'll need some pencils, paper, cupping forms, or other ways to take notes. Many are digital these days, and perhaps a spittoon or other appropriate receptacle for your spit. That just about completes everything that you'll need to run a good cupping.